Well, you're next, so.
I know I'm next.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, my name is Dave, and I'm a storyteller. Very good. It's nice to see that there's at least a few other 12-step graduates running around here somewhere. And so, next up, well, this has kind of become her traditional time to walk up on stage. I always say that she's really great at bringing people back in after intermission. Joe's flying up here. Why is Joe flying up here?
Zach.
Good.
So you can look at pictures and,
Yeah.
kitty porn, that's bad.
Yeah.
I'll answer any questions that come in there.
Whatever porn she's watching, just link it and send it to the rest of us. Yeah, okay, cool. Because whatever a family is watching, I need to see. And so with that in mind, before I throw her up here in front of the maddening crowd, I was amused to find out that there were several people that I know who've walked up and said that she is their idol. I can kind of see why. The censoring mechanism in her brain doesn't quite function the way most people's does. No, it function at all, really. And so, ladies and gentlemen, a family.
Hi, everybody. Glad to see you tonight. I'm telling you, every single time I do one of these shows at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm thinking, yeah, I know what I'm going to do tonight. This is going to be great. And it just changed about 2 minutes ago. So you fly United, Joe. I fly seat of the pants. This is how it works. I'd like to start off with saying most people, they read the graffiti in the bathroom. I bring it with me. I thought this was awesome. This whole Selfless Sundays things that Papa Chris does here. This is fantastic. A lot of you know that tonight any of our contributions are going to go to the U.S. So Mikey threatened that if we don't collect enough, that they're going to ship me over to the troops. And let me tell you, that's a morale booster, I'm told. But I'll tell you, we were at lunch today, and I'm sharing my mental images of what this is, and I had this patent leather combat boot mixed with Operation Dumbo Drop going on in my head. And I really wanted to bring in one of my leopard print sheets going, I brought my parachute, who's in? But this, I think, is amazing. This is every Sunday at Papa Chris, he wants to give back to the community that supports him. So, if you didn't see this, go take a dump. I'll put it back. Not right now, James. Because if you're headed to the ladies' room, being the creeper that you admit you are, it won't be in there. It is a creeper-free zone. That table, that immediate vicinity, right. So anyway, I think this is fantastic that we've got an establishment that wants to give back to the community. And tonight, if you do want to see Operation Ephemerally Drop, don't put anything in the fishbowl. If you'd rather spare your taxpayer money from going to treat post-traumatic stress syndrome, donate freely. So, thank you, Jamie.
And can we get a round of applause for Papa Chris? Can we get a round of applause for Papa Chris?
Yes. I think we should give Papa Chris a round of applause for being a charitable business owner. Thank you. Yes. Who are you people? Yeah. Well, a couple of things also came up over lunch today, and one of them was how you can tell. Well, actually, on the way home from lunch, it was kind of like a mini parade. Mini Cooper, which is the car that I drive, and I love it. Love that little car. And they were everywhere, and this is the season because it's warm, they're fun, and rabbit season, duck season. But we got into the discussion that, first of all, the 4-door Mini is not a Mini. It's a flippin' medium. Sorry, that's what it is. It is a Touareg that somebody washed in hot water. Have you seen it? It truly is. I drove one the last time I had my car in the shop, and it was just wrong. It's an abomination. They're fun, but they're not a Mini. Another thing that it was decided, I get a lot of crap for the fact that my car is a boy. The color is mellow yellow, and of course, if you're a Mini owner, you must name your car. And I sat there, I took delivery of my car on Election Day when we elected Obama. And I sat there for about a week going, what am I going to name this car? Well, the color of the car is called Mellow Yellow. And I thought, okay, well, Mellow Yellow, sung by Donovan. He was a British folk singer. Perfect. So my car's name is Donovan. And I catch a lot of crap because cars can't be boys. Why, yes, they can. But today, yeah, I know, he's a stick, so duh. And I was divorcing at the time, so y'all know what happens when you get married. That's during the divorce. But so it finally became clear today how you can tell if your Mini is a boy or a girl. Mine is not the turbocharged, so it has one tailpipe. It's a boy. The turbocharged has two tailpipes. That's a girl. So in case you need to know if you're driving down the road and there's a Mini around you, you can tell without looking under the bonnet whether it is a boy or a girl by counting the tailpipes. This also holds true for humans, but is much less socially acceptable. And with that lead-in, I wrote this in January of 2011, and it was a piece that I actually posted on my dating site profile, which then made it to my blog, and it was called Infidelity Blues, or What I Learned from Cheating on My Car. And basically, the backstory is I had taken my car in, I had manhandled him and snapped a linkage cable. And I had a loner. So I'll go ahead and read this to you. It says, Donovan and I had been together for about 2 years, and he's young and spry and responds well to my touch, and he even likes it rough. His cheery exterior belies the heart of a lion. His diminutive size is perhaps his greatest asset. He is, by almost every measure, the perfect car. However, ours is not a perfect relationship, and we merely parted companies for a few days. This is a summary of the events that followed. It started over a fight. I was in a measure of pain and was headed back to work after a doctor's appointment. Now, one of the things I like about Donovan is that he's a very sturdy boy and can keep up with my enthusiasm. As such, he's quite temperamental. And perhaps I was a bit too firm in my demands, and I said, I'm shifting into second now. And being the brat that he is, he obliged and then promptly refused to shift any farther. As an aside, this was at 46th and Dodge at about noon. Yeah. So the silent treatment began. I seethed in the driver's seat, and he sat pulled off to the side of the road in stony silence. Long story short, he says he needs to take a break and crash on his buddy's hoist for a few days so he can cool off. Fine. Don't let the hatchback hit you in the ass on the way out the door. Stupid car. It was about at that moment when I find myself in the presence of a short, dark, and mysterious foreigner. Oh, yeah. Be still my beating heart. His lines were aggressive. His clear coat highlighted the gold flecks in that chocolate brown paint job. He had curves in all the right places, and he drove me wild at the sight of him. He took my breath away on the road. I said, pass him! And his glorious turbocharger barely broke a sweat. We took cloverleaves shamelessly at 70, dusted a few Hondas, and got into just enough trouble to keep it interesting. Yeah, officer, I totally agree. Safety first. No, really, I was pulled over in a loner. That's another story. And it wasn't without his problems, though. You're too low, he'd complain as he bucked under the stoplight. I was, his hill assist bothered me, and he griped about my not being able to hit his friction point. Suffice to say, it was fun while it lasted, however brief. There was just no soul in it. There was only power. And power without passion is cold. Donovan and I are back together now and up to our same old tricks. There's something comforting about knowing exactly where your corners are, being able to expect a reaction and getting it, and commuting on instinct. It's a team, two halves of a fluid whole, and I missed that. I was wrong to think that some flashy next big thing could replace him. He and his quirks is the only Minnie for me. The moral of the story? Thankfully, I learned a lesson about cheating on my car before I learned it cheating on a partner. So, Donovan, my love, this one's for you, darling. My next piece that I've got this evening, and I could tell you more about the getting pulled over in the loaner with expired plates and no wallet in Sarpy County. I really thought I was going to jail. But that's another story that I've got to put together with a little more coherency, because all I could think was, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. But this is sort of a tribute. It's a matter of sharing my pain with Adrian after his most recent procedure. And I'm fixed but not declawed. Why do you think we didn't leave the house after lunch today? Hello. But there is that. Steamy inside and out. But this is a kind of like, well, there's pie involved. But this was sort of an ode to the most recent bout of pain that has been between the two of us. In about 1995, I had graduated high school. And this is that final summer at home when you're supposed to act out and say your goodbyes and all that. You know what I did? I had my wisdom teeth out. Yeah, this was a whole lot of fun. And I actually ended up with dry sockets, which wasn't the worst of it. That didn't make me flinch at all. What did make me flinch was the fact that somehow during this procedure, my jaw locked to the point where I could only open it but this much. So when I woke up from the procedure, not only was it disgusting because the oral surgeon apparently was late for a golf date and didn't really clean out my mouth. I won't go into specifics because there's people still eating, but it was quite disgusting. But for about 2 weeks after the procedure, all I could really eat was Jell-O or other soft foods that I could just sort of cram into my mouth. And anybody who's been to more than one of these shows will understand that I'm a loudmouth. So having to shut the hell up, this was like a volcano with the pressure building. And that's exactly what it did. I got so very tired of ramen and pudding and soup, because it's summer, and who wants to eat soup in the summer? But I think it all culminated with, I don't even remember what movie it was, but I had two friends that were really sick and tired of me skulking around the house pouting about, oh, I can't eat anything, I can't drink out of a straw. Because, you know, we chubby girls, we like our food. And when you can't have what you want, that tends to make us cranky. Really cranky. And finally they dragged my ass out of the house and they says, okay, we're gonna go see a movie. And it must have been a really, really early movie, because after it was over, I remember we had this brilliant idea that we were gonna go to Burger King. And this was the Burger King that is on, it's still there at about 80th and Dodge. They're about by the Toys R Us. And as you know, this one has that glass solarium where you can sit. And so they go up in order, and I get this brilliant idea. I'm sitting there just sick to death of milkshakes and pudding and bananas and single teeny tiny bites of whatever I can get. And I walk up to that cashier and I say, I want a Whopper, value meal, make it huge. Thus begins the evening of pain. Somehow along the way, the storm has rolled in and the sky is absolutely green. and the thunder and the lightning is off in the distance, and you can see it. The lightning is just leaping from cloud to cloud, and the wind has started. When we got into the Burger King, there was not a puff of air, nothing. But as we're sitting in this solarium, because that's where you want to go when the sky is green with hail that is coming your way, we see these little saplings that are in that parking lot just bending in the wind. And my two friends are sitting there, and I'm sure we're talking about the movie, and they're eating normally, and I'm sitting there at the table pulling this burger apart and mashing it. First I tried to mash it into this just matzah Whopper, unleavened fucking hamburger. And that didn't work. So I looked like the Joker with mayonnaise and ketchup, and just, I'm not succeeding. And there's tears streaming down my face in frustration. And I finally just start pulling, and I've got my thumb and my finger, and it's not working. And they have stopped watching this storm, this event that is coming in, and they're just sitting there in rapt fascination of, there's something wrong with you, but we're going to report it later because we can't take our eyes off of this right about now. I truly don't remember how I finished the meal. I don't. But what I do remember is sitting there in that Burger King with the hail that finally did happen. It was beating down on this solarium. And somehow I've got these little pieces of burger in my mouth, and it was the most glorious cheeseburger I have ever had. It was amazing. And truly, I don't know why I never complained about this. I don't. Because you'd think that if you can't open your mouth after you've had a surgical procedure for 2 weeks, you should probably make a phone call. And in my adult life, I'm not the type that just kind of rolls over and lets crap like that happen. So apparently I missed the memo as a teenager. But this particular instance, perhaps it wasn't my smartest hour, but it certainly makes for a fantastic story, because I'm sure that you can all imagine myself sitting in this booth, it's just me and this hamburger. And it's like the OK Corral. It's me, and there's tumbleweeds in this atrium area, and you hear wah, wah, wah. Exactly, and I'm just looking at it going, you're my Huckleberry. So yeah, that is my absolute worst dental story, and it involves myself and a hamburger. So yeah, all right, that's about all I got. Next up, my fellow call center Denzian and fantastic hair Adonis in that regard, Alan Wiggs. Thank you, everybody.
I'm going to give myself a seat here because I am frail and sick. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can get yourself sick, and some of them are excruciating and some of them are embarrassing, and in my case, it's both. I went home from work on Friday, and I was told by the... in between this, I went to urgent care and was told by the doctor that I have a middle ear infection. And one of the things that I didn't realize about this is that ear infections are something that not a lot of adults get. In fact, to the point that when I go on WebMD, you know, as the nerd does after coming home from the doctor, because why would an expert know what he's talking about? Every piece of advice that I can find starts with, if your child is old enough for, or to make sure that your child is comfortable. And so here I am on a Friday night with my roommates all going out to the bar, and I'm rolling around on the couch, screaming in the most excruciating pain that I've felt in years, and all I can think about is, who's taking care of me and making sure that I'm comfortable? But, so that's why I'm sitting down for this. I am not the storyteller, or at least I don't have as many stories as Efemily or Dave generally has. But what I like to do is I like to teach. I like to impart some knowledge or even wisdom. And today, one of the things that I want to discuss is a perspective that I have, a perspective that I think is a little bit elucidating, because from the perspective of most people, I belong to a group that is more hated and more misunderstood than almost any in America. And that's not men with, fantastic mustaches and fabulous hair. I'm a customer service agent. I work in a call center. I am the bane of the existence of anyone who's ever tried to dispute a credit card charge or change their cell phone plan or figure out just exactly where their bank account disappears to every month. Now, it might not come as too much surprise that you find that these poor souls that you're verbally wrestling with every day often find it just as unpleasant as you do, but today, I want to come before you to describe a dream that I have. It is a dream of low hold times. It is a dream of mutual courtesy. It is a dream that someday customers of every business in every land can resolve their business without longing for the cold embrace of death. I have a dream today. And I hope I don't have, do I have to cite that one? Yeah, not the 95 Theses. But today, on behalf of operators, advocates, IT professionals, and anybody who straps on a headset for a living, I would like to present an agreement, a non-aggression pact, if you will. While I can't promise you everything that you want, I can't refund your bill, you cannot speak to my CEO, but I do want to foster some mutual respect and understanding, and possibly get you off of my goddamn line. So, for tonight, my name's Alan, and what can I help you with today?
Hi, Alan. I forgot my password.
I have 6 points that I want to make today. 6 please, I might phrase them as. And the first one is, please be prepared. It's something that you might have heard if you were one of the Boy Scouts, or more likely from The Lion King. But it's something that a lot of people don't take into account before they start dialing in a 1-800 number. I understand that not everybody can keep a full backlog of the records of every phone bill that they've paid for the past 6 years, and I know that you have a busy life, I have a busy life. We fit these things in when we can during business hours, but at the same time, there are a few situations that might not be the best ones to call into a call center. Number one, fast food drive-thrus.
Yes.
See, this is a circumstance in which not only are you pissing me off, but you're also pissing them off, and you're getting 2 customer service professionals, angry at the same time. On the one hand, one of them might be able to cancel your phone service or double your bill for next month. On the other hand, one of them can spit in your food, so I'll let you work out which of those is the one that you want to be more obsequious to. You don't necessarily need to call me from the freeway and try to pay your insurance bill. I'm pretty sure that if you're getting out your credit card while you're driving down the road, then you're going to need that life insurance policy a heck of a lot sooner than you might have otherwise. It's really not my fault if you're calling me on a 15-minute break at your job. And once you do get on the line, once you do have all of your papers in order, you know your policy number maybe even, you might even be able to remember the last 4 digits of your social security number. There is a process that starts when you call into a call center. They might ask you to enter a bunch of things into a voice response system. You might have to go through 6 different departments before you find the right one. But I promise you, this is a promise from me to you, if you hit 0 the moment you hear a recorded voice come on, you will not get to the right person faster than if you wait for the prompts. There is an order that these things happen in. If you hit 0, you will get sent to the least trained, least paid, and least giving a shit person in that call center. That does not sound like a recipe to me for finding the answer to the very specific question that you have. And, you know, even beyond that, once you do get with a person, once they even explain to you that they're the correct person that you're supposed to speak to resolve whatever burning issue that you have. Unless, of course, that issue has to do with actual burning, you either need to call the fire department or your urologist, but we're not going to help you out on that. There's probably going to be some questions that they ask you. You want to listen to those questions and actually have answers for them, because if you don't know your social security number, if you refuse to give them your date of birth, you're not going to be able to go to their manager. You're not going to be able to ask for somebody else that's more forthcoming. The fact of the matter is that we can just hang up on you. Now, and that brings me to you asking questions. After you've answered the questions that you're asked, after you've gotten down to brass tacks, as it were, you're actually supposed to present what you need in a realistic and cogent fashion. There are a lot of different questions that you could ask at this point. The wrong question to ask, 90% of the time, is why. Why is my bill so high? Why haven't you already resolved this problem in the last 3 calls I made? Why won't you go out with me, Alan? I'm so good looking. Don't be afraid to, you know, maybe not repeat the same thing that you've said 6 times over and over again. I'm pretty sure that your Mexican gardener doesn't understand what you're saying if you start talking more like this, and it doesn't work for me either. Occasionally you do get into a point where you might have a language difficulty. And, you know, as soon as you hang up there, you're going to be like, oh, I got connected to Bangladesh. I can't understand why those people just won't learn English. I will tell you this, I have had more difficulties making myself understood with American-born, American-raised folks than I ever have as a caller or as a customer service professional dealing with someone that speaks another language. There are certain parts of the United States that I'm pretty sure after 3rd grade, what says English on the curriculum in their schools, they just go outside for a while because they're not speaking or using the same grammar that anyone else does in this country. Now, there's a little bit of a sore point whenever you get together with some folks that work in call centers. Everybody swaps bad customer stories, just like everybody else swaps bad customer service interaction stories. There's a little bit of a sore point when somebody brings up the fact that, yes, every now and then you do have a bad experience. Every now and then you do have a situation where somebody does make a legitimate mistake. Now, I know I'm not your friend and you're not mine. I know we're never going to speak again, but when you do know somebody, when you do care about them as another human being, and they make a mistake, they do something wrong, you might rib them for a little bit, but eventually you're going to let it go. My experience with customers at call centers is that this particular point of human courtesy has gone completely out the window. When you eat out and somebody maybe switches up who gets what, when you take your car in and they might not rotate the tires quite as quickly as you'd like, you generally don't ask for someone to be fired. And yet, as a nearly weekly occurrence, I have people asking to speak with my manager, saying that they're going to send letters to the company, telling me that they're going to call their state attorneys general and make sure that I never work in this business again.
That's an accomplishment.
And I think that if you have this sort of scorched earth approach to addressing your customer service concerns, if you really do want anyone that gives you anything less than stellar service to be chucked out on their ass, then you can go ahead and pay the unemployment bills. Now, when we get into these sorts of situations, obviously, sometimes over the phone, things get misunderstood, people feel they're not heard, and that can generate hostility. So my 5th point is, remember who has the power in this relationship. Now, you may be my customer. My company does depend on your money, but I'm not a salesperson. I'm not working on commission. You do not tip me for me to survive. If your call happens to get lost on hold for 60 or 70 minutes, if, you might get dropped off by a bad connection, if I tell you something that might not have actually been resolved was resolved on your account, you don't really have a lot of recourse there. I can fuck you over way better than you can fuck me. This is, sometimes like a sadomasochistic relationship, and not like the kind that I have with the family. You might be the one that is telling me what to do. You might be the one shouting the orders and cracking the whip, but I'm the one that's in control of the relationship. I have the safe word, and it's called disconnect. And for my final point in this little exercise, the last recourse of any customer service disgruntled caller is to punch it up the chain a little bit, to ask for a manager, a supervisor, or an escalation specialist, whatever the hell that means. And there's plenty of people that feel like that's what they need to do as soon as they call someone up. Haven't spoken with anybody, don't know what's actually going to happen when somebody answers the phone. Ask for a manager right off the bat. Number one, what you're doing when you're asking for a manager is telling someone in no uncertain terms, I don't think you can do your job. I'd like you to get someone else who's paid more than you do for doing a different job to do it for you. Which, if I were to come into your office or, barn or boudoir and tell you that what you were doing was incorrect and that you should probably get someone else to do that for you, you probably might take exception. You might even throw things at me. Unfortunately, I don't have that option. I don't have the phone spiders worked out yet that they can come and attack your ears. But there are two things that I can pretty much guarantee you about any time that you're asking for a manager in a call center. One is that manager probably does this a hell of a lot less than I do. They don't take the calls, they don't know the systems, and they don't know the rules nearly as well as I do. Managers are paid to manage. They are not paid to take calls. And the second one, and probably more important, is that I might be friends with my manager. I might not. I might shoot glaring looks at him every day, or we might go out for drinks after work. But there is one thing that I can absolutely guarantee is that my manager has to look at me every day, and my manager doesn't know who you are from Adam. If you're presented with a conflict between somebody that you know is a professional that you haven't managed to fire yet, and someone that is shouting invective and probably by this point has used up 2/3 of their cursing vocabulary, there's really only one clear choice as to who they're going to side with. So please, give it a rest, take a deep breath, rephrase your question, and really lie back and take it, because at this point, there isn't a corporation that you're going to get what you want out of anyway. So I hope that helps a little bit, or at the very least, those of you that share my pain might have found that to be a cathartic experience. And for that, I say thank you for calling. Dave, how are we for time? Huh? All right. One more new thing that I have today, if I can actually find it, is we have some fantastically gifted poets in the Samurai of Spoken Word. I am not one of them. However, call it osmosis or call it just a little bit of anger, but I have, for the first time in 10 years, recently written a poem, and you can decide how much I like y'all after you hear it. as far as me inflicting it on everybody. This is something that I wrote a little bit after I gave my first piece at the Samurai of Spoken Word, which some of you may have heard about growing up as an atheist in a Catholic family. And it is somewhat compiled from a lot of things that I've heard, some to other people, some to me, some just where I happen to be in the vicinity of, and some of the responses that I wanted to say back when people took issue with my particular choice of a lack of faith. It's called You Say, I Say. You say, I have no structure. I say, what do you think I have a skeleton for? It's inside me, and though I can't see what it does, it holds me up. I know it's there because without it, I'd fall to pieces. I need no faith to comprehend this, to lend it justification or allure. I can be sure without first-hand knowledge, because my hands are led by logic and observation. I hope I don't overstep my station when I say the boards of our corporations aren't equivalent, when mine are hand-picked, but yours are assigned. And I hope that when I say that building my house up from a foundation, when you're putting a wing on the family home, that I'm not out of line. You say I believe in nothing. I say, of course I do. If there's no nothing, what do we put in our flasks and our cleaners? What does nature abhor if not a vacuum? Nothing is all around us every day. If the stuff in an atom were the size of a butterfly, then nothing would be the size of a stadium, though maybe a little larger for the ones in your cranium. I'm not a nihilist, don't confuse me. I'm not here to cut off your Chauncey. In fact, I'm tired of being defined by the things that I ignore instead of the things that I think are awesome. Is it better to think of the meaning of things as imposed or built from within? Is divine will the thing that defines the means? Or are our minds where the creation begins? You say, my afterlife is doomed. I say, you don't plan the after party when you're just starting the show. What happens when I'm gone is something neither of us know, but I don't think that I need to believe in a hell to understand pain, because I know that sharing that burden lessens it, while joy can be sustained the more you spread it out. How's that for a miracle? Life here on earth gets better the more good I do. Why do I need a heaven too? So I can focus on an end justified by my means? So I can believe in a God who sends lost souls to be tormented by fiends? Go ahead, cast your condemnations, but from where I sit, you only focus on our destinations because you can't journey for shit. You say I have no moral center. I say I've got a center of gravity. It's right here, halfway between my gut and my heart, and while it may not be a compass for my orientation, it gives me a firm foundation, a rock on which to build, a clock that's right more than twice a day. So it's really wrong for you to say I've lost my way. You see, it doesn't matter if you walk the straight and narrow if you can't keep your feet on the tightrope. See, you might hope to reach the end by following your dreams, but if you care less about your footing than how impressed the crowd seems, no. Your moral compass can be led astray by nothing more than fridge magnets. Your bright standard is just a sail inflated by a divine wind. I'd rather choose every plodding step I take than find out where that zephyr ends. You may flex the muscles of your moral fiber, but you can't push a smart car out of a ditch if you're standing in the mud. You don't need courage, you need leverage. And my fulcrum is strong. And when my lever is long enough, I will move your world. Thanks, everybody. Now, a lot of people have lists that they make of folks, emergency contacts, that sort of thing. Sometimes no-fly lists. And I have a list of the people that I would call first if there was a zombie apocalypse, and number one on that list is our next speaker, Mikey Taylor.
Who wants a body massage? Yeah, I do.
I think I know your mother.
She still hangs out dockside bars. A lot of you guys don't get these inside jokes. Sorry about that. No, I'm not nearly as intelligent as Alan, so I'm going to talk about religion a little bit, but it's not nearly going to be as eloquent. It's a big word for me, especially at this time of the show. So, I've been pigeonholed as an atheist, but I don't know if I am or not. The thing is, I believe what I believe, and that should just be good enough. I mean, I don't fuck with other people about what they believe. Religion is like a penis. You don't whip it out in public. You don't shove it in my face unless I ask you. And that's not going to happen with either one. So I dabbled in religion. I kind of, maybe a student of religion, I guess. I don't read the Bible because I'm not going to pay for it, one thing, and the ones that they give you are too tiny. I can't read the little print. So I bought the Complete Idiot's Guide to the Bible, and about halfway through it, because it was the book that was in my bathroom when I pooped. And I got very bored with that. So I exchanged it for some other books and pornography and other things. So when I was a kid, apparently my aunt saw something a little bit different than my parents did. Because my dad is a very spiritual man. You could almost say he's religious, but he doesn't really talk about it. He believes what he believes. My aunt started asking me about once a month to go to church when I was a kid. And I thought church was fucking amazing. I got to go down, I got to hang out with kids that pretended to like me. They didn't beat the shit out of me. I got cookies and Kool-Aid at the end of the service. They told me stories about these amazing people doing amazing, unbelievable things that I'd heard their names, never really heard the stories. And the ironic thing is, they serve Kool-Aid in church. Well, once I hit a certain age, you didn't hang out down in the basement anymore. You got to go upstairs. This is about 10 or 11 years old. I found out that some family members of mine founded this church. It's kind of big shoes to fill, walking into, the main hall there and listening to the service, sitting behind your great-grandparents in their pew because you weren't allowed to sit with them unless you were invited, which is kind of weird. I sat with them once, but the offer wasn't extended again. So I guess I fucked around too much or played with the pencils or something. I don't know what the fuck I did, but you didn't necessarily have a week-to-week invitation to sit with them. And they were the only two in that pew. So it's kind of fucking weird, It's kind of, I'm being excluded. And I just finally decided, fuck it. We don't go to McDonald's anymore. We don't get the Kool-Aid and cookies. We don't go to McDonald's for a Happy Meal after the service. And, we have to go to a sit-down restaurant. There ain't no fucking toys there. I'm not going anymore. This is bullshit. And that was when I was 11. So I quit going to church for a while. Not a big deal. When I was about 16 years old, I met a friend of the family that, it was their daughter, that I didn't remember meeting when I was younger. And I started dating her because she was so cute. And if you've never dated the child of a friend of the family, you should run out and try that right now because it's fucking awesome, let me tell you. Their parents know everything about you. Everything. So, we're dating and it's going just great. She was cute, I was there, and she one day asks me, would you like to come stay the night at my parents' house? I'm 16 years old, I had seen the movies. Fuck yeah, I'm coming to stay the night at your parents' house. I know what that means. You're going to sneak downstairs in the middle of the night. Hell yes. They have the most spacious and comfortable couch in all of Omaha, and I was alone on it. And I thought it was odd that she'd ask me to stay, but bring nice jeans and a button-up shirt and a belt. What are we going to be doing? I was, shaken awake on Sunday morning early, way earlier than I planned to get up. And I thought, all right, we're going to have some breakfast. We're going to, no, go change. What the fuck are we doing? We're going to church. Ah, shit. This was not in my plans for this weekend. So we go to church, and this big church, huge church, they have a television show for the people that can't make it out. This place is amazing. There's cameras everywhere and like many different rooms that you can sit in. And if you didn't want to sit in the main room, you go sit in another room and watch it on closed circuit. This is bizarre to me. But I went because I thought maybe somehow by going to church with this girl, I might get laid. I don't know how that works out, but... So at the end of the service, they ask everyone, please stand. And we all stand up and join hands. So I grabbed her hand, and when you're dating, you kind of interlock fingers. I did that. She let go, slapped my hand, and kind of grabbed it like the G.I. Joe Kung Fu grip. I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here as her dad takes my other hand. I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to hold hands with her dad now. This is fucking weird. And he asks us all to bow our heads. We bow our heads. And the first thing I hear is, Lord, as you know, we have a parking problem. I'm looking around because I know there's cameras, and this is way before Punk'd. But I'm thinking, they're fucking with me, they gotta be. And I look over at her, and she's sitting there going, put your head back down. No. And I look, and her dad's giving me that death glare, that, oh, motherfucker. So I put my head back down. And I say, Lord, if you could just let one of your people find it in their hearts to donate the land to the north of the church, we could have that parking lot. That way, we could bring more people in here. More people to worship you and have their conference, Lord. But before you do that, you need to empower some kind of contractor to come in and pave that land. Pave that land so we can put cars there. We gotta put cars there. It's like, what the fuck are they talking about? I kind of looked around, and all these people are like, oh, yes, Lord, yes, Lord. I'm like, they're fucking buying this shit. Okay, we took another break from church, and it's lasted quite some time. I don't go to church anymore. I kind of, corrupted her a little bit, and I led her down a way